Hi guys. Good way to start. So, welcome to episode 2 of the AuraCast. I'm DragonBeaz. I'm joined by my amazing co-host. I felt sick saying that. Cindershots.
How's everyone doing? Hopefully we're doing wonderfully well. How's everyone in chat?
So, we do have a guest. Thank you for the follow, Pineapple. So we do have a guest. And we'll get to that person in a minute, even though they've already spoken. He can't follow instructions. God damn. Yes, he will be moderated in the chat because it's for AG team members to answer that question. Anyway, so we're going to play the little intro as we have been doing for the one episode we've only done, so that's exciting. And we'll be back. If I can find the right thing to click on.
Professionalism!
All right. So, da-da, oh, hang on, he's this side. Da-da.
Hello. Hello.
Whoa.
Hello, everybody. I'm T-Pain.
Oh, man!
I don't feel like there's an intro necessary after that. It's like, how do I top that? Like, how do I...
Oh,
Is there-
I love you, man.
Is there any way to just, like... Alright. So, okay, for those of you who haven't seen, our guest today is Touma. Touma is our content creation manager for AG. He manages to create content. No.
Somehow, magically, in this world, I managed to create content.
So we gave him a fancy role for that.
I could do the fancy roll right about now.
What kind of look? It's like 6 p.m. here, so it is actually dinner time. And talking about rolls is not going to help that.
Some nice dinner rolls.
Just remember, I'm going to be looking at those funny faces. Well, thank you, Riley.
Hey.
Shout out to Riley who did the AuraCast overlay. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'll hand over to Touma. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I am a streamer who streams for the Aura Guardians, of course. I'm also your content creation manager. I just make sure that everything runs smoothly when bees can't figure things out. So So yeah, my general
not
purpose.
wrong.
My general purpose is to like mainly focus on the RCs and stuff like that, like your recruitment challenges, making sure teams are running properly, because we're gonna have like Valorant, Destiny, we got all that stuff. So I make sure that all that just runs smoothly one into another.
Yes.
Making sure also that the team also has like, you know, new merchandise, some new designs and things like that they can work with, because I do also do design on the side.
Ooh, sort of flex.
All of the shirts, sorry, let's just say merch in general, because it's not just shirts on the store. All the stuff that's on the store is designed by Touma. So Touma also is responsible for the redo, and then the redo of our logo.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah, okay, we had the original Aura Guardians logo, which was like that shield one where the guy is like, I have a finger and it does this, and then in his other hand he's got a little lightning ball. Great description, I know. Finger does this and lightning ball.
No one said that sentence out of context.
It had a very esportsy vibe for those who didn't see it.
And then I redesigned it to be simplified, so it was just hood, guy, finger, done. But then I got pissed off with it because when I was designing merchandise, I designed it badly. That was on my bad, and it was not symmetrical. And I'm sitting there going, this is not symmetrical. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna just design a new logo.
You know, a funny side story to that before we go on to some more, well, not serious, this is never going to be a serious podcast, is that when you said about redoing the logo the second time round, Riley had literally, I think, just finished the podcast overlay, so he had to go back and change everything on the podcast overlay.
I apologize for that one, Riley.
I very delicately went to Riley. So, yeah.
I'd like to mention that I broke everything that you probably just created.
I mean, I think overall it was easy enough to swap over, but it was like that moment of like, oh, let's not start bees, let's not. Sorry, Riley. Flame hit this one here.
Hey, you're you're the one that was like, go make merchandise, and then I realized the logo was like, I can't make merchandise with this logo because it does not color well.
Yeah. I'll take some responsibility.
What you're witnessing right now is the breakdown of the team.
Pretty much.
And tomorrow, the Aura Guardians will no longer exist.
Thank you for the host pedal.
Part
So yeah.
2.
Let's. I guess we didn't. There was no ToumaXIV this week because not a lot has happened that's new.
And we were too lazy to write it.
Probably.
Wow, I love this. This episode is just call out bees. The episode.
Oh, no,
No, both me and him. No. Here's the thing. Both me and him write it. Both of us were too lazy to write
I was
it.
gonna say, if I don't write it, normally Toma will write it, or vice versa, and neither of us have done it. So we almost need a backup plan for the backup plan. So breaking news. Bro,
Elon Musk buy. Okay, if Elon Musk wants to buy the Aura Guardians, give me like 5 Teslas and I'm good.
No, go 7. You want one for every day of the week.
Yes, all different colors.
Oh yeah, exactly, all different colors.
I just want a cut percentage. That's all I want. I'll be happy.
And one better have a thick anime girl on the front.
Fair enough.
You know what? He seems like the type of person that would do that, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, I am the one person that would totally do that.
No, I was talking about Elon Musk.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying I would be the one to do that. I was gonna say, hell yeah. Also, you can see my Mimikyu plush in the background there.
So
Badass.
let's.
It's the little Halloween one.
Oh, that's cute. So let's go down the path of. I guess the most obvious thing we should probably talk about is the summer recruitment challenge.
Yes.
And also, I guess in talking about that, we probably will go into things like important
How
stuff
you-
to content creation, like branding and stuff.
I was going to say how you completely were just randomly like, hey, we're doing a recruitment challenge. And I'm like, I don't even have the system ready yet.
Welcome back to the breakdown of the team.
Here's the thing. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, just suddenly, just like, hey, we're doing a recruitment
help
challenge.
your defense.
No.
Let's do a
there's no
recruitment challenge.
There's no point in defending the fact
As
that
the thing falls off the head of my chair, hello pillow.
So yeah, basically, the team. Okay, since I purchased the team a while back, it's gone through a few phases of
It's not a phase, Mom.
organizing all like management stuff and sort of dividing up responsibility. And one of the roles, which, funny enough, the person who suggested the content creation management role actually ended up being the content creation manager.
Funny that.
He said he just wanted a
suggested that a
shiny
long time
badge
ago.
to wear to go, oh, look.
Well, no, it was because I saw the way other organizations work, and like when you have these tiering options like that, like you have your leaders, your founders, and then the members of the team. Normally, you want somebody that can make sure that everything runs smoothly in between. It's kind of like an Oreo. Like I'm the cream between the 2 cookies. Because if you have 2 cookies, it sucks. You got to have the cream between the 2 cookies. It's the padding. Also, it's totally not because I have a package of
I was
Oreos.
gonna say, yeah.
Smooth segue. He's just gonna start eating Oreos.
Just in the middle of the stream.
So basically, we came up with a concept. This will be our second recruitment challenge, and as with anything in AG, it is a growing process, and we are looking at each time we do this, improving and streamlining and making changes. And so, we did sit down and have quite a discussion over DMs and that about how we can improve from the last time, how we can make a better connection with the people participating, and how we can also make it more beneficial. Even if for some reason you didn't get selected for the team, you're going to find some benefit to it so that you can either improve or look at things from a different perspective. And that's what Toma's been working on.
Yes, and I
Go.
can run through like all of the. I created basically a patch notes idea because I was sitting there like, how am I going to display this to the rest of the team that I can, make sure that this runs smoothly? Because the first time we did it was a complete and utter travesty. I'm not going to lie.
It wasn't completely awful.
It had problems, and
It had problems.
The first one, the concept was right. The execution had flaws.
Yes.
And I'll be the first one to admit that.
We Bethesda'd it. We had the idea. Everything.
Well, there goes the
there.
sponsorship from Bethesda.
No, to Bethesda, it would be to say it's not a bug, it's a feature. That's
Yes,
not what happened.
It just works. That was our philosophy for a while with that recruitment challenge. The problem that we had with it was we didn't really engage with the team. We felt like we were kind of like scientists sitting there checking little boxes off behind the scenes. There wasn't a lot of us going out and talking to the team, teaching people like, this is how you can, improve. Like, this is how what the team is looking for, and this is what we can help you with.
Yeah.
So things like, we were going to extend the period of evaluation from that 2 weeks that we had, because that was way too short, till almost nearly a month to a month and a half. Because that way we have a chance to get a grasp on things. That, and when people don't have a chance to stream, they don't feel the pressure of, I can't stream for this week. Maybe my family wants to go on holidays or something. All of a sudden, my chances of getting into the team are completely crippled.
Yeah.
You're not going to have that problem. The other thing is to incentivize the ability to work together. We are a team. We want to try to function as a group, a very, very tight-knit group. So incentivizing and calling it dysfunctional and calling each other out. Yeah. But
the weirdest family you ever will see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we want to see how like the recruits work with not only members of the team, but also with each other. So we're going to try to like be like, hey, try to find somebody that you can co-stream with for a little bit and see how you work in a dynamic with another person. Because it's not always going to be, I'm alone on the channel. You're going to have other people that want to talk to you, play with you, things like that.
Yeah.
The other thing is shadow mentoring. What we're going to do is we're going to have, people that have established brands and stuff like that, such as, Beaz has his established brand. I have my established brand. Cinder has his. We want to be able to like see like if a recruit has problems with a certain area of streaming, say, for example, like they want to run cool effects on their OBS or something, we can help them with that. We can be like, okay, this is what the team is looking for. We can help you out.
I'm giggling like a child at what Pedal just said. Don't worry.
AG has called.
I was gonna say, it's like I heard a little chuckle. I was like,
AG has called you out, Guardian. You are challenged in the ways of the stream.
I can hear it in my head because I've been playing Destiny all day, and I'm like, I can freaking hear it in my head.
You guys are such Destiny nerds, I swear.
I mean, I could just press a button and. Hi, Lord Jax.
So
the other thing is having the introductions. I know that was the one that had the highest amount of confusion about it.
Yeah.
The point of an intro. Well,
do you want to go?
I was going to say the point of the introductions was just to get to know you. You don't have to have your face cam. If you don't stream with a face cam or you don't feel comfortable in front of a camera, it's fine. You can record just, yourself in OBS playing a game you love for a little bit. Just let us know how you are, like who you are, what style of personality you have, what type of content we can expect to see on your channel. It doesn't have to be edited. If you want to edit things, you can. Because, always having a little bit of goofy editing is always fun in there. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're not looking for 2013 phase montage level editing. We're looking for just like, maybe like a cut com or something like that. Something that's very low effort that you can do in Windows Movie Maker.
But at the end of the day, I've already had a bit of a look at some of the videos that have been submitted, and people are pretty much on track with that. It's basically our mentality is we want to have that extra bit of contact with you guys and understand your personality and what you want to do as a streamer, what kind of stuff you do, and like. It's a very small glimpse into even the little things, like getting to see, okay, if you've used OBS, your overlay and everything, it gives us an instant sort of snapshot of how that operates, so that we've got a starting point, is the way I look at it. And it's something that we didn't have in the first recruitment challenge, was that we had people put the application form in. The application form was a lot more involved. And I read through them all, and that was fine. But then it was still this, you didn't necessarily get a feel for the people and understand what they were as streamers. And the other side of things was, I was watching VODs and stuff, because sometimes it depends on who it was. I was asleep,
Time zones, yay!
yeah, because time zones are a thing. But this gives us a chance to potentially look at more aspects of you guys as streamers.
The other thing is, I'm going to be very, very transparent. That's the other thing that we're going to be working on with this recruitment challenge. Being transparent with you guys. The first problem that I will say we had was the whole scoring system. You can't put a number onto personalities. You legitimately cannot put a number into somebody's personality. You cannot value that on a scale, because everybody's going to be unique. Everybody's different. So everybody's going to have their own flow, their own style. And just because it doesn't match ours, like my styles are very chill. Beaz's is very chill as well. And
depending on the game.
Depending on the game. It all depends on the game, really. Everybody's going to have their own unique styles, and we can't put a value on that. So I completely just took the spreadsheet system and went, yeet, it's gone.
Yeah, and I'm glad from my perspective, because this sounds really weird, but there's the business end of this whole AG thing, and whilst we're trying to obviously keep it fun and hobby and all the rest of it, there is a business aspect to it, and to sit there and have to go through mountains of paperwork and numbers and stuff is not what we're after for this particular thing. There's plenty of other times I'll probably have to do that over the course of the next millennia, but it's like, we want to simplify the process so we can spend more time with the streamers and less time with the paperwork.
Yeah, because this is less like a stream team now. This is becoming more of a full-on organization where, we got, sponsors and stuff. So we're technically an organization, because a stream team is more of, a big streamer gets a community and then wants to invite maybe parts of the community that are streaming into that team. Meanwhile, an organization is, we have a stream team. Yes, we have the people that work with content, but we also have, a big community behind us. We have, ways that we can filter in money into the community to make sure that the community has a good time as well, be it through our sponsorship with Juju right now, where they make an energy drink that everybody can drink, hopefully, if you're not allergic to something in it.
Yeah.
Exclamation mark Juju in chat.
Subtle as a brick.
Don't worry, I got this.
Oh god.
Use code AGFAM in the chat right now if you want a tub of Juju for 10% off.
Good grief.
As he almost spits out.
I'm pretty sure you.
Drinking.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you just killed Cinder at this point.
We lost the host.
So yeah, and you're correct in saying that, and the mindset is with anything that we do on a financial level, whether it is the Juju stuff or any future sponsorship or our merch sales or anything like that, is so that we can filter it back into the team and continue to run these things, for example, the website hosting costs and all that goes on behind the scenes, and that's something that will develop over time.
Making sure artists get paid for what they draw. If Riley does like an amazing overlay like the AuraCast, we can pay for that.
Yeah. And that's the other incredibly important thing, is that there are so many little aspects to the team outside of just the stream team alone. There's the people who are bringing different talents to the team and to the organization, if we want to call ourselves that now. And we need that, because it makes us be able to have such a higher quality of what we do. I like to think that our website is a very high quality website, and it's like that the overlays that we're using.
I should remake that thing for Riley finally.
Oh yeah.
High quality. Forgets to make like half of the logos. Whoops.
High quality when we remember in.
So and
Giant
Riley
asterisk up in the corner.
Riley's a good example of someone who's not necessarily a streamer, but is very much an integral part of how the machine works. And that's important to acknowledge.
Riley's a lot of reasons to what you're looking at right now. It looks good. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
let's just throw
exactly.
that out there.
He's
Yeah.
he's encased us three in something beautiful. It's just a shame that what's in the case is a little bit weird.
Hey, look, right. I'm not gonna pretend to be anyone else. I am just me. So just gonna throw that out there.
I mean, he's the one that did my Pokemon overlay a while back, and it looked fantastic. It was honestly something that I'd never expected to have, because normally my stuff has always been like, this is the game, this is me in the corner, and then this is the Pokemon I'm catching or going
Yeah.
after. And then I completely stopped playing Pokemon because now I play Destiny.
Yeah, I'm
We
all
lost
over.
one. We lost one, boys.
And here's the thing, you know. All right, let's have a moment here to speak about content in general, and how certain aspects of creating content are important, and some things you can put a bit of focus on, but don't sort of stress yourself out about. One of the biggest things that I'm personally big on, and it's just because I've owned my own business and I've been in that scenario, is branding. And it's nice when everything that you do ties together in a nice package, so that if they see you on Twitter and they see your logo or something that symbolizes you, and then they see it on Twitch, and then they see it on Instagram, and they see it in Discord, and etc., they immediately go, oh, that's DragonBeaz, or that's Toma, or that's Cindershots. It's like, it's that instant recognition with very minimal effort in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying the work to create a logo is. I'm saying that once you've got that, it's that branding, and it's there. You know, we instantly look at Twitch, for example, and we see the little glitch and go, it's Twitch. We know exactly what that is. So, you know, branding is super important. And that's something that I focus on a lot of. I know that, and this is something that Toma is going to have to talk about because I'm hopeless, and I go to them for advice, is tech side of things, you know.
Oh my god, Toma has been a lifeline as regards tech in the regarding Discord server.
So many people.
Like, I've not seen so much detail and explanations of anything tech-wise unless Toma's involved in that little channel, and that's just fact. If you go to the server, find the server, and you will see in the tech support. I think it's called tech support. The channel.
Yeah. Streamer tech support or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone asks a question, Toma's there as an answer. Yeah. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm getting cookies while he explains. I'll be back in a second.
Gotta go get cookies. Well, there goes one host. Oh, he's
I was gonna say. So we're looking for a new co-host.
Okay, so the reason why I put so much effort in is because I understand that, you know, you got people out there that they work with tech every single day. Like, you know, somebody that knows how to build a computer, people that know how to, you know, you can put an Elgato into a computer. That's like the base knowledge, but some things you got to be able to like hook it up properly, you know, make sure all the settings in OBS are correct. I want to be able to make sure that people have the highest quality chance at, you know, making their streams look good, because the first thing that a viewer sees when they come into your stream is your gameplay and your web camera if you use one. So you got to make sure that they are at the highest quality, and then the second thing that they'll notice is your audio quality. So you got to make sure that works in tandem with your stream. So being able to have everything, you know, kind of just culminate in this little package will make people want to come back. So you have all of that all in these little tutorials, because I'm just trying to make it so that way everybody has a chance of making like the highest quality stream possible. So that way, if they do get noticed by somebody, it's like, wow, your stream looks really good. I want to come back the next day, or I want to come back the day after that, instead of, oh, today your stream looks really good, but tomorrow your encoder messed up because you changed a few settings because you looked online and 14 billion people have all these different settings. It allows you to figure out, like, this is my stream, this is how it runs smoothly now, and I can constantly keep games running smoothly and making the viewer experience as smooth as possible while I have a good streaming experience.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, as someone I've been streaming for just over 2 years now, and I've spent my time building towards where I am at the moment. And, you know, even just in the last 6 months, it's gone from one extreme to another, and I've invested more money into my equipment. But I always tried to maximize what I had, you know, and that's important. If you've got a camera that's okay, you know, you want to be able to use it to its absolute maximum potential. And that's the otherwise why have you got it is basically the mentality I have. Same with your mic. Even if you use a headset with an inbuilt mic, there are ways to make that sound like quality and you know, whether it's using filters in OBS, whether it's, you know, actual physical things, you know, some people have mixers that they can use for that. Depends on your mic as well, but and that's the kind of stuff that Toma has absolutely, you know, I've read it and gone, well, I never would have known any of this, but now I do. I actually referred to it a week or so ago for something, and I can't remember what it was. Actually, it could have been audio. And so those documents, which I've also been nagging him about, saying we're calling people out today, is we're going to try and put them up on our website. Hint, hint.
Hey.
Hint, hint. You also have access to the website, buddy.
Yeah, but knowing me, there's a difference between
drama.
There's a difference between editing an existing page and me adding a new one. Me adding a new one,
Sure.
I'm gonna mess it up. I know I'm gonna. So that's something we're gonna add at some stage as a bit of a resource for people to use. So we will be putting that. It's currently available in the Discord, but we want to probably put it in a way that it's easier access, so you don't have to filter through a ton of messages.
Because I'm not gonna lie, you don't need $1 billion in equipment. Yeah, there's gonna be people out there that spend a lot of money on their equipment, like the SM7B that sits in front of me, or the camera I'm using, which is a full-on DSLR. You're gonna spend a lot of money on that because you're gonna want quality. You see, like, you know, you see the quality that people pulled out with it. But a C920 is a perfect webcam. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a very good webcam for a very low price. You just got to play around with its settings in order to get it to work properly. There's no perfect stream. Like, you could have, you know, a setup like, I don't know, Ninja or Shroud or Dr. Disrespect or something, where you got these big cameras around you. You got these big fancy lights. But right now I'm being lit up by a $32 desk lamp and a Hue bulb with a piece of paper in front of it to diffuse light. You don't need a big expensive setup to pull off a stream. You can pull a stream off with very little.
I mean, the equipment I have is like low budget because like other people have the funds to spend. Me, not so much. The camera I've got at the moment is a Razer Keo.
Very good webcam. That's a very good webcam.
I've enjoyed using it, and the mic I'm using, I can't remember the exact model, but it's a toner mic with a shadow power box. And it's not the greatest, but I had a headset mic beforehand, and even though it was quite cheap, it's still quite a nice jump because if you fiddle, like you say, if you fiddle with certain settings and filters, you can make it sound a lot better than you might expect from something of that price range.
Well, might be playing around with
it doesn't necessarily matter how expensive. Huh?
Playing sound then.
No.
Okay,
No.
I don't know where that was coming from then. I could hear like Mario jumping. That's alright, I'm having I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking for a co-host. Beaz gone senile. But yeah.
Just sitting here hearing that. Alright.
But yeah, like the equipment I have, it's not like high budget. It's on the lower end of everything, but you can still do a lot with what you've got. If you mess around with certain filters and make the most of what you've got, you can still provide something that looks good and sounds good, regardless of what you have, and then like improve over time. You're not going to have amazing stuff straight away unless you're really rich or really lucky or a mix of the two. But like, you work up to it. It's important you make the most of what you have, and that's where it all comes from. Really.
Also, prioritize what upgrades you want first. That's the biggest one I can always recommend. Prioritize your upgrades. You have a Blue Yeti. Do you need a new microphone right away? No, a Blue Yeti will work perfectly fine. But say you have like this really old, like, or you're using a laptop's webcam. Maybe prioritize getting a camera, because the first thing people will see and recognize is your face, and they'll attach to your personality and your face and your reactions and stuff. And two perfect ones, if you're willing to, if you have very low money, a perfect web camera is this one right here. This is a Razer Keo. Cinder, you'll probably recognize it. This is the Razer Keo.
I have it in front of me.
The reason why is the Razer Keo is about $90 Canadian, $99 Canadian, about maybe 70 or 80-ish American. The reason why is because of this little ring around here. This is a ring light. This will give you lighting on your face, which is extremely important, because you can take an amazing camera. If you have a DSLR, you're not going to have anything if you don't have proper lighting. So the most important thing to me is just getting light onto your face. Because you can see with Beaz's camera right now, he's got a webcam, but he's got an Elgato key light in front of him, which is now diffusing light onto his face, and it makes the camera look so much better than it actually is.
I was just God, we're too much on the same page today. I was literally about to say I'll switch off my Elgato and I'll show you exactly what they mean.
Yeah, and then if you're willing to spend
See?
about $200 and you want,
The
well,
difference.
now you just look like Slenderman now.
That's my natural look.
Just Spooky standing there in a forest. Kids walk by. What?
Beast thrives at Halloween. Put it that way.
But that's my side job.
Natural Halloween. Put away the costume, Beast. It's my face. Get that away. But if you're wondering, if you're willing to spend a little bit more, around about $200, you have the Logitech Brio. The Logitech Brio is a 4K webcam. So you got the sensor that can play at 4K, but you don't use it at 4K. You use it at 1080p where it's got 60 FPS. Because one of the biggest things I will state is FPS with webcam to the stream is important. If you're running a webcam at, ow, I hit my knee on my desk, at 720p at 60 FPS, but your web camera, say, is 480p 30, you'll notice that it looks a little bit jittery alongside 60 FPS, because 60 FPS is like extremely smooth. Like you can see frame to frame in games. It's like if you have a 144 hertz monitor, turn it back to 60 for a bit, and you'll completely see a difference.
Yeah.
Because it'll be a mouse super smooth, and then it'll be a mouse super jittery going across. So when you match your webcam frame rate to your stream, it looks a lot better. It just looks better because it's smooth. It's smooth and smooth. And people will notice that. Most people don't really care because most of the time your face cam is just a reaction. So you don't need like a super detailed webcam or me putting way too much money into a SLR, which is the other option.
Oh, yeah. That's
which is the third and final option, which is a DSLR webcam setup, which there's two ways you can do it. If you're lucky and you have a Canon, an SL2, SL3, go check their website. I'll put a link in the Discord and probably on the website to their webcam utility. You can just plug a Canon DSLR in via USB into your computer, and now all of a sudden it's a webcam. Simple as that. Or you could go the more harder to find route right now, and that is get an Elgato Camlink 4K. Now, what this does is it takes a mini HDMI from your camera and translates it into something that your computer can recognize and use as a webcam. It changes it to a webcam source. That's what I'm using right now, and it looks great because of the fact that the camera is a full-on camera. You don't have the nuances of USB problems. You still have the nuance of USB port being a USB port because they are prone to interference, but you don't have the problems of webcam randomly cutting out in the middle of your stream because your USB cord unplugged a little bit.
Yeah. Which happens.
It does.
I remember
it happened with my Razer Kyo about 4 times.
I remember doing something very similar, but with my old mic setup. It was the same thing. I mean, this still runs on USB, but because the mic and that, I've spent money. I've got a Yeti, but I've also bought like the boom arm to go with it and everything now, so that I can't touch it. No matter how much I go around flapping my arms in the desk, I can't touch it. I can't unplug it. I can't accidentally do any of that. And that's only an investment in the last month or so. I bought my mic just before I moved over here, but yeah, it's.
I want to. Continue on. Go ahead.
It's basically. I look at the way I started is I had my PC. I bought a PC simply because I wanted to do YouTube videos with friends, and that just didn't end up going anywhere. And then got into Twitch. And so I had a PC, but my laptop is also capable of doing that same thing. And it's the same with, for example, to steal that person's moment here, is that Pedal had the world's worst laptop I've ever seen. I'm surprised it even switched on at this point. And so they made it work for what they could do. And whether it was streaming directly from the Xbox or, trying to stream games that would work on the PC because some games will allow that.
We're not going to speak Destiny 2.
And now they've bought a PC and been able to do a lot more with it, and so it's making use of the hardware and that you've got. And as Toma said, invest in the important things first, and then up the track you can start buying the little bits and pieces that make it. I've just recently gone back to having a second screen after like going a year without it. I used to use a TV at home, and I didn't bring that with me because that was just that's not something you bring with you.
God, I just realized I'm gonna have to
the first 7 or 8 months I streamed, I was streaming directly from an Xbox. That was a horrible time because the Xbox One Twitch app, just because it's out there, absolutely awful. It is so
holy hell!
Holy
whoa,
Matthias, thank you. Oh, Toma got one.
I got one.
Oh, that's brilliant. Cinder got one as well.
But okay, so the main thing that I would like to say is the upgrade path that I would recommend is if you have a really terrible computer, focus on getting a new computer first. And the most important thing I will say is if you don't have a lot of money, grab a Ryzen. Ryzens are the best right now for stream bang for your buck performance. An 8-core 2700X is a little bit over $200. I'm of course talking about in Canadian price, so it may be different depending on where you
cheap.
are. Yeah, about $200. I picked up my Ryzen 9, my 3900X, for just $359 because it was on sale. And the performance that Ryzen has in streaming far outweighs the gaming performance that Intel can provide. If you're just going for a one PC stream, because then you also have an RTX card in there most likely that can run NVENC. And NVENC is the most amazing little chip on every single card from the 10 series onwards that just allows you to have the best quality, in my opinion. Yeah, CPU streaming is always going to be better. Like X264 will always trump over NVENC no matter what. But NVENC is perfect for one PC streams because your GPU handles everything. You don't have to worry. So I would probably recommend picking up an RTX card if you have the option to. A 2070 Super paired with even a 6-core i5 or i7 will be perfectly fine for streaming because you can just use entirely the GPU to encode and everything.
I mean, I've only just recently updated my graphics card.
Yes, and how many times you had to ask me, why are the fans so loud? Because you bought a Gigabyte model that has 3 fans on it.
No. We actually, I can now safely say it wasn't that.
It was your actual...
Well, sorry, it was that, but it wasn't getting the ability to cool with the case fans. That's what, because the case fans were so shit, putting it bluntly, the GPU had to work to cool down, and that's why it was turning on like a jet engine. But now I put those 2 fans in, and it runs smooth as anything. So
also
Gigabyte, like it's gonna take off.
Also, you have a Gigabyte WindForce card, which is, they're generally known for being really loud. Their fans are super loud compared to other brands because they normally put 3 fans that are really high RPM fans on there, compared to something like MSI where they do their twin Frozer fans, which are built to push air really quickly.
Yeah.
And they only have to put 2 of them on the card so it doesn't overheat or doesn't have cooling problems. Even though I've seen my RTX 2070 go up to like 60, 70, 80 degrees sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, the tech side is important. And as we said, maximizing what you've got is the most important thing. Otherwise, what's the point in having it if you're not using it to its full potential? And that's something that you can easily do, whether you want to ask in the Discord or do some research. There's so much.
Or even if you're asking, DM me directly. I can try to help you with as much tech stuff as I can.
So there you go. So that's always important. And then on the other side of things, when we're talking about streaming and that, is that some people are big believers in having a schedule. I try to myself, but personal life gets in the way, and that's perfectly fine. But schedules are useful if you're going to try to build. People get used to seeing it at the same time, and you'll it's an exposure thing. People go, oh, they stream around this time, so I'll tune in then. I'll be waiting for the live notification. It's important to not overstream too. I see so many people just stream and do ridiculous amounts of hours and get nothing out of it, and it's because a number of reasons. I personally think that it's oversaturating. People not get tired of you, but it's like, I've seen them stream, especially if you stream the same game and then you're streaming 10 to 12 hours every day. It works for some people, especially people who are professional or trying to be professional, whether it's Call of Duty or Valorant or any of those sort of games where it's more competitive. But if you're just doing it as a more hobby thing, and you're like, oh, I like playing Destiny, or I like playing Minecraft or whatever, doing a day after day after day after day doesn't necessarily mean growth. And the most important thing about growth is that you also try to network with others, and that's something that we try with the team, and we want to try with the recruitment challenge. Is that growth will happen if you get to meet new people, and scary as that is, yes, especially given the current circumstances, but there's plenty of nice people out there who are just wanting to meet other people, play games, help each other stream,
have a good time.
and have a good time. And that's what AG is about. As much as we say, there's the business side of AG at its core is like a group of friends wanting to play games together, and that's basically what we're aiming for, and that's what we have at the moment. I feel.
If I can expand on the scheduling part as well. Like, another reason why scheduling is so good is that people as humans, I mean, this is going to be hypocritical of me because in the last week or so I've been awful with schedule, but the point still stands. Scheduling is good because people as humans love routine and consistency. If people know when they can expect to be able to watch one of your streams, they're more than likely going to be excited to catch the next one if they want to watch you. And knowing when you're going to be streaming rather than just having notification on and it coming through when you are streaming randomly, which is also fine. People do their own things, but when people know when you're going to stream, if they want to watch, they will make time to watch. Most of the time. So having that kind of like routine for not just for other people but for yourself as well, you get to that routine. You're a lot more ready when it comes to stream time. People know when to watch, so they're going to tune in. Scheduling just helps everyone as regards making habits and just having that kind of consistency and routine to it. Because humans are creatures of habit, man. Like if they get into the habit of watching at certain times, that habit is going to be hard to break. They'll find themselves being on Twitch around that time subconsciously. It just happens. That's how the brain works.
I mean, look at how like TV works. Think of it like TV. You are on TV. So imagine you have your little block of 3 hours that you stream. You're like a TV show. Say you're like The Bachelorette. People tune into The Bachelorette every night because they know it's going to be on at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. after the news. They know that. So your stream will know, oh, you're going to be live at 6 p.m. playing whatever game you want, Smash Bros, Destiny, Pokemon. They know for a fact that you're going to be on at this specific time. And one of the things that I will recommend is use the one that comes on Twitch, because Twitch has a scheduling thing in your new channel update, because everybody gets that. Use that. Let your stream know what game you're going to be playing and what's going on. The other thing I can always recommend too, if you want to get engagement, because here's the problem with starting soon screens. Most of the time people just put them on and play music. I've been guilty of that. A lot of people are guilty of that. One of the things that I will recommend, put your mic on during that time, because that's your time to get hyped. You have that 5 minutes, talk to your chat, get the people that are in there hyped and engaged, because otherwise they're going to sit there for 5 minutes. If they're like one of the people that regularly comes to your stream, they're going to sit there for 5 minutes and do what? Not do much. They're just going to sit there and just wait for your stream to start. But at that point, they might leave because it's boring, because it's just music playing. Just have your music quieted down and just have your mic on and just talk to them. If somebody says hi in the chat, be like, hey, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Are you excited for the stream? What games have you been playing? Come up with conversations like that.
Just find a process that works for you. That's all it comes
Yeah.
down to. Everything streaming wise is trial and error. I've been streaming for about a year and what month are we in? June. Quick maths. About a year and 9 months.
It's 2020.
It is a Saturday. No, I've been streaming for about a year and 9 months now. Everything's trial and error. I'm still learning. I'm going to keep learning 5 years from now. If I am still streaming by that point, which I'd like to, I'll still be learning at that point. There's always going to be something that you can change, whether it's something good that's going good and you want to improve it, or something that isn't working and you want to either remove it or change it around. There's always going to be something that can be changed, improved, or worked on, and that's a good thing. So yeah, just do things your way. If things work for you, great. There are things that will work for some people that won't work for other people. If you see, like I mentioned earlier, you'll see the ninjas and the shrouds. They'll have different processes that work for them, but don't think that because it works for them, that's the reason they're popular or any other reason. Because you could try it and it might not work for you at all.
That was the common thing that was happening when Fortnite's still popular, but when it was at its peak and Ninja, people were like, oh, if I stream Fortnite, I'm going to get the viewers, and it wasn't like that. I mean, I streamed Fortnite for a little bit, and not because of that reason. My friends wanted to play it. I'm like, oh, I'll put it up. And those streams just didn't perform for me, you know? And even 12 months ago, I would try to stream Destiny 2, wouldn't perform for me, but now it does. You just don't know. And you should never be frightened of trying different games to see what works for you and what you enjoy. That's the other thing here, is if you don't play a game just because you think it's going to perform for you, you need to play a game that you can personally connect with so that you feel excited about talking with your audience about them.
I have a great example of that. So when I did start streaming back in September 2018, God, I'm old. The whole concept of my channel was I was almost exclusively doing Overwatch. Fun history lesson for you. I was an Overwatch streamer for the longest of time. And that was fun. And I thought I was doing it. Well, I was doing it because I was enjoying it, but I fell out of love with the game. And then it came to a point where I suddenly realized I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. The stream is being impacted because of it. And that's when I started doing other types of games. I went to more exclusively Pokemon content near the end of last year when Sword and Shield came out. And I did that knowing full well that my audience and retention would drop, and that's exactly what happened. But I wasn't disheartened because I know that what I was going to end up streaming and playing from that point onwards was something I was enjoying. So it didn't matter at all. And then obviously over time, because people can see that you're enjoying what you're doing, they'll come around, they'll be interested because you've got this joy and this positive atmosphere around you. They're going to want to stay and see more about what you and your channel is about. If you're playing a game that you don't like, but try and put on a face for it, people are smart. People will see through that.
Absolutely.
And there's one thing that people don't like seeing is people being disingenuine. Yeah. If you're genuinely passionate about what you're doing, there's going to be an audience for that regardless of what you're playing, and people live off that. People thrive off that. People like to see others happy. There are some people that like the opposite, but we don't talk about them. There are people that just in general, people love seeing other people happy. And when they see that you're enjoying yourself, they're going to be enjoying themselves being there. And that's where the audience starts growing and just having a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, like when I first started streaming, the two or three games that I played, and one of them was really obscure. I played Minecraft because I played a lot of Minecraft, and that is a popular game, and it's actually a consistent game on Twitch. You know, as much as other things go in and out, and because Minecraft is so obviously sandboxy and has such a diverse range of things you can do with it, it's still very popular on Twitch. So there was that, right? I would do that once a week on a Friday with a friend, and people came to tune in and would watch that. The other one that I did was Pokemon Quest. Now that sounds so so ludicrous at the time. I'm like, I like this game. I'm going to stream it, and if nobody likes it, well, all right, fine. I got practically affiliated using Pokemon Quest. At one stage,
is a story.
and the funny thing was, I was the highest viewed Pokemon Quest streamer on Twitch at my time zone for a couple of streams.
Oh, can you hear the flexing? It's amazing.
I mean, it was only like 10 viewers or something at the
Hey,
time,
look,
but
take it.
hey, look, because I had someone come and chat like, "Oh my god!" The same thing happened with Stardew Valley, which is really weird as well. I got someone in the chat going, "Oh, we've seen your channel because you're the most viewed Stardew Valley person at the moment." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Stardew Valley is a huge game now. I love that game.
So it's really bizarre, and you just don't know. I mean, Pokemon is something that my branding is surrounded by, obviously, and it's something that I still am very passionate about. But I have diversified into so many other games at this point. People like seeing me play horror games because I scream a lot. You know, I do my weekly DBD streams with my friends because people just love the dynamic of the fact that we scream at each other and it's chaos. So you know, it's trial and error, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, my logo's raw because I'm a god. Just kidding.
Oh my god!
And the thing is,
branding.
speaking of branding, is the other thing that I went through, and Toma has been through because he hasn't always been known as Toma.
Shush.
Is that I used to be Beaz 1989 because you know
Nice.
I wasn't a streamer before that. I was just my nickname throughout my childhood and it now is Beaz. There's
You watch this on YouTube. Hashtag Beaz is old in the comments, please. Thank you.
Hashtag Boomer Bees.
But it's like, so I got to a point where I was seriously considering my branding, and I hated the numbers. I hated seeing the numbers in my name. It annoyed me. Obviously Toma has numbers, but Toma's done it in a nice way.
Well, mine's Roman numerals.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still 14. No, but you know, it's done it. It looks good. Whereas having 1989 is like, well, that's just, you know. So I went through a stage of, and I was terrified of changing my name because it was that process of like, all my overlays have to change, or my branding has to change, and it was it was a big directional change. And I was like, all right, everyone knows me for loving Dragonite. I don't want to just be like, oh, Dragonite Beaz or something like that. Let's make it something that if for some reason up the track Nintendo goes, you know what, no one's allowed to have Pokemon emotes. Let's not say it's not going to happen.
You're screwed.
Then it would be like, okay, I wouldn't have to rebrand my name because DragonBeaz is DragonBeaz. I would have to just change my overlays and that, so I wouldn't lose
It's
my
not
name.
like Pokemon Elite 4 member 6657.
Unless until they make a Pokemon named DragonBeaz, and then you're screwed.
Oh my god!
If they
I would pay millions to have a Pokemon called DragonBeaz in the next game.
So
just copyright infringement. Hello, my name is Walking Copyright Infringement.
my logo can just be the C with the circle around it. No.
The demonetized symbol.
MCA.
Hey, you could actually sue them. In that case, not that we're going down that rabbit hole, but in that case,
unfortunately, you have to copyright your name.
I would have to
before they
copyright
did
my
it.
name, exactly. And then, yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, you could potentially go, well, hang on, I was using it first, and there could be a whole thing with that, but it would be less tricky.
Yeah, but legally you wouldn't have the power. Like,
And
No,
that's the
and
reason why I changed my old Twitch name.
Oh, yes. So the reason, yeah. So I brought that up because two of us, I don't know, have you always been Cindershots?
on Twitch, yes.
Okay.
But I do want to change to
In
at
his-
some point. But I'm also aware that that's been taken, so I'm very sad. But
Well, I was just going to go with Beaz. And I'm like, surely no one's got BEAZ. Sure enough, someone has that. And I'm like, are you
Yeah.
serious?
So, I have a long history with changing my name because I was a YouTuber before I started on Twitch. I used to be known as Sky Afterburn because I was part of a clan called Sky, and I really liked airplanes, and the closest thing to a jet that I could find was the name Afterburner, so I went with Afterburn. And then after that, I switched over to It's Evora because my favorite car was the Lotus Evora at that time. And then Lotus was like, this is our name. And I'm like, shit. So then I changed. Then I changed to my a name that more people would recognize, which is Mythic Majora.
Yes.
That's where the name Mythic came from. Because on Xbox, my name was L2 Mythic. for the longest time. And then after that, I didn't want the name Majora, so then I switched to A Shiny Mimikyu. And you can see how well that went with Nintendo.
Yeah. Not a
I
fan.
would have been a walking DMCA, a walking cease and desist.
It's such a tricky one with Nintendo, and I mean, we won't go too far into the copyright stuff. Nintendo's so strange in what they want to copyright and they don't want to copyright.
Yeah.
Unlike other companies where they're fairly consistent, Nintendo's so strange about how they handle stuff.
And then I shortened it to MimicZ, which is when I joined AG. I was MimicZ at that time. And then I wanted something a little bit more personal and close to myself. And I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, and my character on the game's name is Toma. So I took Toma and the game it came from, Final Fantasy XIV, and just kind of went
Smush.
I made my name.
It's like an Oreo. No, I don't know.
And now that I
don't bring
streamed
up Oreos again. He's gonna bring up the birthday cake Oreos.
Fusion
Oh.
Heart. So we've had Pepsi and Oreos. We're really trying to get their sponsorships here. No.
Talking of sponsorships.
Can
I have Haribo as a sponsorship?
Oh god. So that's something that some people have had to face, and some people have even had longer versions of their name and then shortened them for easier branding. I know a couple of people who are Twitch streamers who have done that. So I guess it's about being smart about whatever you pick. And you may go through a few for lack of a better term, phases with names until you find the one that actually fits or hits the right notes that you want it to. Don't be frightened to change it. And it doesn't necessarily change you as a streamer, but it might actually help bring things together, if that makes sense.
The other
It
one
might
that
be a
I
bit
will-
frightening, but that'll be okay. Like that change is good sometimes.
Everything's frightening about Twitch. There's so much,
yeah.
We don't get into that.
I didn't mean that.
Okay. Look, let me just say this real quick. There was a huge part of my channel that was taken away because of a change recently to Twitch TOS. Well, an update, shall we say, to Twitch TOS. For those that know me, that you will know that up until about just under a month ago, I had a karaoke command on my channel. I can't do that anymore.
Well, DMCA has not changed. It's not really a Twitch TOS thing. DMCA has been a thing for a very long time.
I know it's always been a thing, but they've been tighter with it lately, and I don't want to.
And that what that boils down to with that situation, so if you are going to have, like we've got music and things for our overlays and or our intro stuff and that, all of that is copyright free. It can't be. It's for public use, and there's no penalty for that. Is that especially now than ever? If song requests and things like that are a dangerous thing, and as much as it creates engagement in that, at the end of the day, all that engagement will mean nothing if they take your channel away. There's lots of different sources of music, royalty free music that you can use.
Monster Cat.
I'm using Monster Cat. And it's like, so, there are ways around it, and there are ways to still have some background music, because I understand there are some games that you need it for. I play Minecraft. No one wants to listen to the Minecraft theme for 4 hours.
If you want a very peaceful music that you can play in the background of your stream, using, there's a streamer out there named Harris Heller, and he made a group of songs called Stream Beats. They're all non-vocal, and they're very relaxing, chill music. So if you want just something in the background, his music is the way to go right now. And they're all completely copyright free.
Yeah.
Another YouTube channel you can use, the channel called No Copyright Sounds. I've been using them for a while, and you'll find that quite a few songs on there are also on Monster Cat. It's kind of like it's a similar channel, but again, like Monster Cat, you don't have to worry about any infringement or anything. Like, there's a lot of music there. One of the songs from that channel has become the song for my channel. Shout out Diviners with the song Savannah, great song. And then that just became the song that the channel is, well, not known for, but it works in tandem.
Yeah.
It resonates with it.
Yeah. One thing that Max has just brought up in the chat, and not everyone has to do this, but I think it's a nice way to sort of make your community or make people who join your community feel like they're part of something. Is most of us have a community name. Mine's the Dragon's Den, and that's simply because Pokemon Crystal is my favorite game, and the Dragon's Den is behind Blackthorn City, and that's purely the mindset behind that, and it ties in with my branding. And
I saw the cog moving while you're trying to remember the city.
I was going Kanto, Johto. I'm like, hang on.
Which ho is it?
No, my one, I've gone for Hexes because my favorite Pokemon and kind of the mascot of my channel, since it's a Pokemon-based channel, is Chandelure and that evolution line. It's all Hex is also a ghost type Pokemon move. Fun fact. And it just makes sense of that Pokemon in itself and all like the vibe and the aesthetic, which is weird because it makes it. I need to think about it actually, because now I think about it in hindsight, it makes it sound really creepy, and the channel isn't. But
makes it sound like a cult leader.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, whoa. And I know he's gonna, if he's listening at the moment, he's gonna jump into the chat, and I know he will. See, my partner Danny, his community is called the Pleb Slayer Cult, and it works for him.
Yeah.
You know, because he's a creep. No.
Oh my god.
But I see what you mean. And I guess you know, I know another streamer who also used that sort of mentality and the cult idea, and it worked for them. So it's not always a bad thing if it works for what you can do, you know, and that's always, you know, that's always a tricky thing to work out sometimes. Sometimes these things write themselves, and sometimes you have to be a little creative and come up with some ideas, basically.
Yeah. My community is called The Garden because my logo is Ra. Ra is the god of the sun. The sun is a life bringer. So you plant the seed for a community, and it'll flourish into a garden.
That's far too that's too poetic.
That's a story. I love that.
Also because my girlfriend calls me Tomato the entire time, so I just was like, it's a garden.
The real reason came out.
That's the secondary reason, but the other reason is a little more poetic.
Secondary, biggest air quotes in existence. Secondary.
Well, actually, that's something that I went through a discussion recently about changing my. Or it was in the last 6 months about changing my community name, and I put it to a vote. Communication with your community is always important. You know, you don't want to just do something that fundamentally changes how the community works without consulting them almost, because they are the ones that support you. And you know, and for example, Danny went through he used to be the Pleb Slayer army. He put it up for a vote, and the people picked Cult. So you know, and that's fine. He's happy with that, and the community was happy with that. So it was that mindset of like, sometimes I put a poll up. You know, if I got a couple of games I want to play, which one do you want to watch? It's that communication with your community that's so very important as well.
Mm-hmm. And another form of communication you have with your community is also your logo as well. Being able to have something that they can identify with very quickly is something that is important. So for example, you see one of the biggest streamers, I'm going to mention him a lot, Shroud. Look at the way his logo is. It's an S that's a hooded figure with the targeting reticle over his eye to make it look so, because he's got an insane aim. His community identifies with that because it's got, you know, a shrouded look to it, and it matches his name. The Aura Guardians, we have a hooded figure with the aura coming out of the eyes, and it lends to the community that it's a guardian looking character with an aura around him. You have Beaz's, which is the Dragonite. That symbolizes
words.
But you have Beaz's, who's the Dragonite, and you know, sometimes it'll be him standing beside the Dragonite.
But there's always an element of Dragonite, and that's so that people they automatically associate me with it.
With a Dragonite. You have Cindershots, yours is the Chandelure, who's kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
it's a very mysterious Pokemon, and it also steals your soul. But we don't speak about that part.
Don't worry about the fact that it lures people away. Don't worry about it. Like,
But
Yeah.
you
I'm
have
concerned.
that mysterious. But you also have the ghost type, which is that mysterious type that's kind of shrouded in mystery. And then you have that fire typing behind it, which is the personality, where your personality is very upbeat. You're constantly keeping things going, keeping things flowing.
yeah, that's a reason.
Totally not just because I just wanted to write word Cindershots on my name.
Totally just because I don't love ghost types.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, yeah. Well, what we might do, I think we've covered quite a bit about content creation and our experiences with content creation. And if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. There is a redemption thingy on the channel points. So if it would be
Explained gracefully.
beautifully, always. I'm as graceful as a brick through a window. So, so there's so many different approaches, and you've got to find what works for you. Everyone's streaming journey, as such, is different. And there's nothing wrong with taking, well, not taking ideas, but sort of being inspired by other people's ideas. But try to be your own content creator. Don't try and mimic others, because it comes across as disingenuous. It comes across as just it doesn't click with most people, because they'll go, "Are you just copying this person or that person?" Or
Yeah.
dye your hair blue and play Fortnite. That's not going to get you anywhere. And if you do, good luck to you. But so try and be your own person with that kind of
Use
stuff.
them as an example, but don't make them the standard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah. The other thing I just want to quickly say, I'm going to just do an ad read, because I'm great at those. And then
Because the first episode went so well.
Hey, I have a voice changer. Just forward me the script.
hang on. While I'm talking about that, and I'll send you the little thing if I can find it. Shit.
Yeah, just like the main thing. One thing that might help some people is like produce content that you would be happy to watch. One thing that people say often that I've noticed is that people are like, "Oh, I can't watch my own streams back. It's so weird." What you'll get used to it over time, but it also helps that you produce content that you'd like to watch if it was someone else doing the same thing. If you are unable to watch your own content back, or think that it's not right, then something should be changed, and that's something that you can work on. There's always stuff you can improve on, like I mentioned earlier, but if you can watch your own content back and you can smile at it and you can say that you enjoyed it and you're proud of it, then that's an amazing thing.
I also would just like to point out and thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. All of the subs and everything, and all that revenue will go back into the team and what we need to do for the community, which is awesome. Also, I've noticed that we're only 2 subs away from getting a second emote slot. So if we do get that in the next few days or whatever, we will organize another one of these little emotes, like the fam emote we've got. I've actually already got an idea in my head. I'm actually thinking something along like a pipe emote. It ties in beautifully with everything. The wonderful Andiari, who got heavily promoted last week because I fucked up everything.
Oh yeah, do those commands work this time?
They do work. I fixed them. Like I'm just like, I'm Andiari, he's Andiari. Hey, Charming.
Oh my god! Well, we got the emote, boys.
Jeez.
Sure.
Thank
you.
And Charming.
Thank you for the
just thank
for the 2 gift subs and I think Charming subbed. Yep. I was going to say I'm trying to keep up with it all here. So yeah, we will have a new emote, which is awesome. You guys are amazing. Speaking of Ann just got gifted a sub. Oh, well, she'll have one of her own designed emotes. So
That's a weird thought.
I'm going to hand over to Toma, who's going to do a beautiful ad read, I'm sure, and then we're going to just talk a little bit about the gaming news that's happened in the last week. If there's anything you want to talk about, I know there's one thing I want to talk about.
Nothing I want to talk about.
Probably the same thing.
Yep.
And then we'll wrap up the podcast. So fire away.
Do you want energy drinks, but you don't want the negative effects from them?
Welcome to Juju. This is our current sponsor for today. Juju is just more than another energy drink. It is a healthy, high energy, focused formula. It is sugar free and has natural caffeine. Caffeine? I can't Juju was specifically formulated for gamers to increase focus, reaction time, energy, and overall performance, so you can win more games and level up without jitters or crashing. Juju was built for gaming, but is ready for everyday life. We found it also works wonders in the classroom, gym, office, or anywhere out in the world. Juju does include high dosages of vitamin B, vitamin C, D vitamins, and antioxidants to help boost your immune system. It contains healthy, high-quality ingredients, including nootropics, natural energy, those mentioned vitamins and antioxidants. It does increase your focus, reaction time, and energy. It contains Lutamax 2020, which is lutein, which supports healthy eyes and combats blue light strain. There's no sugars, low carbs, and just 15 calories. There's no extra additives. Clean energy, no jitters, no crashes. Get Juju Energy today using code AGFAM for 10% off.
With
Magical.
with that natural caffeine.
I haven't had my natural caffeine this morning.
Oh man, that was. I had to leave. I had to get out of my chair. That was
Honestly,
awesome.
though,
That was
honestly,
amazing.
I won't go on too much because I said about last week. I actually have the Juju products. I had one just before the stream. I think I had this one actually. And they're very nice. They taste nice. I do find that I have got that extra bit of energy. I do find that I can stream longer because my eyes don't feel strained. Someone who wears glasses, I do feel eye strain quite often. Yeah, they're really easy to deal with, and as a company, they're really friendly. Very very good with their customer service. So, as Toma said in his best voice ever,
Yeah, no problems.
AG fam at checkout, and you get 10% discount. So now let's talk about games. I can see Cinder is just sitting there, and I think Cinder's going to say this, talk about the same thing I'm going to talk about.
Does it rhyme with? Right. That was not a word, but I know.
Does it rhyme with? Does it rhyme with what?
I was about to say unite, but then it was very close to what it actually was.
You literally went. I'm like,
You know what, the
well,
last 5 seconds didn't
we
happen,
aren't
it's fine.
we aren't on the same
that's how
page.
That's how we announce games now. Does it rhyme with?
Right, Bees, we might have different opinions. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
All right. So yes, we are talking about there was another Pokemon Presents this week, and
Yes.
here's the thing: I'm excited about what they announced. However, I don't understand why this had its own presentation. It wasn't something that I think people were. No, well, let's be honest. No one was ready for that. No one on God's green earth was ready for Pokemon Unite. It just wasn't on the list of potential ideas. I understand there's people like Cinder who wanted their Gen 4. However, Cinder has also been very open to the idea of Pokemon Unite, and I think,
Yeah.
However, it was like, all right, so there was no Gen 4 remakes. There was no Let's Go Johto that was predicted, which is not necessarily a bad thing. We had a conversation about that last week.
Yeah.
And so, my personal opinion, before we talk about the actual game, what Nintendo should have done, and probably would have got a better reaction than what they've gotten, is they should have had Pokemon Unite at the end of last week's presentation, and the one that's just been should have been Pokemon Snap.
I agree with that. I think it would have been better if that was the case.
Because people were able to accept Pokemon Snap because it was like, it was out of nowhere, but it was like, it's something that people have spoken about for years.
Oh my
It was,
God,
I was more excited about that than I was going into
Pokemon League of Legends.
and that, so the concept I don't mind, and I'll be interested to see how it's going to work, but the way they even introduced it in the video, we played it like, it's like, you're hyping us up, well, here we go, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's, Pokemon League of Legends. It's like...
Okay, I'll be honest. When that trailer was shown, I saw Pokemon Stadium content, and I was thinking, are they going to give us a new Pokemon Stadium style game? Because Stadium 1 and 2 on the Nintendo 64 were god tier games. They still are. I'd go back and play them.
Oh, yeah,
When I was
absolutely.
going
They were
into
fun.
this, when I was going into the stream, yes, I was expecting a Gen 4 remake because 1, I really want one, and 2, last week they said, oh, it's a special big new project. So I was thinking, oh, it could. I think it's time. Everyone get ready to lose your minds. People were saying it was Let's Go Johto, and I'll be honest, 100% transparency, I'm really glad it wasn't. Because the idea of that is just no. I get that other people would want
Just
it.
no.
Just no.
And this goes on to my point of like, there are different audiences for different games. If it's Let's Go Johto, me being a Pokemon nerd, I still would have got it anyway. It wouldn't have been amazing news for me, but I still would have played it. There are other people that really want the game, same as Gen 4 remakes. Now, with this reveal of Pokemon Unite, it's tapping to an audience which isn't necessarily the same as the core audience for the core Pokemon games, but that's okay. What isn't okay is I saw a lot of people hating on Pokemon Unite for no reason because it was different to what they were wanting.
Exactly.
And while, yes, I was still a bit meh because I didn't get my Gen 4 remakes. However, I'm still very... granted, it taps into... I'm definitely the target audience for this game. I like MOBAs and I love Pokemon. To mash them together, I wanted to... little history lesson again. I used to do a bit of casting and commentating over Overwatch back in the day. And I want to get back into casting. This might be the opportunity for me, as well as being able to play, because it looks fun. And I know that I'm a target audience for it. Other people aren't. But I've seen people say, okay, I'm not... this isn't for me, but people are going to have fun with this, and that's great. To hate on the game because it's not what you were wanting is just not cool. Like,
No.
You're not going to be the target audience for everything. And to say that a game is awful because it's not your type of game, it's just a bit unfair to me. It's not going to appeal to everyone. And it's just like, I'm going to be playing it. I know that a couple of people that I know, a couple of people I'm friends with, thanks to Twitch, they're not interested, but they're still lovers of the Pokemon franchise.
That's not where I thought you were leading with that.
What?
Just where you're like, there's a few people that I met through Twitch, thanks Twitch, and then you went, and they're probably not going to play it. I thought you meant you found some people who wanted to play it. It's like, oh, all right.
No, I've also found people that are going to play
I was
it.
gonna
Which is
say.
amazing. By the looks of things, I've got a full team of people now that are going to play it with me.
He had us in the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
I was going to say.
But there are also... Yeah, Riley was with me when I reacted to it. I went bonkers. But I have that recorded, fun fact.
I wish I was recording my reaction to Pokemon Snap because I squealed.
Oh my god!
Oh.
I literally squealed. I've never reacted to a video quite like I did with that. It's like,
it looks so good. But yeah, like there's a
Sorry.
target audience for everything, and while you might not be the audience for this game, it doesn't mean it's automatically going to be an awful game.
No.
And I think that's what a lot of people have failed to see.
what I find with Nintendo, and I'm a diehard Nintendo fan. I've had every Nintendo console since the first, and that makes me old
Nerd.
too. Yeah, I'm nerd old.
Yeah.
I'm aware. I'm an old nerd, and it's like, is that Nintendo have this uncanny ability. Sometimes there's not a middle ground. They always either nail a presentation everyone's talking about, or reach to the other end of the scale and go, why? And that's what they did here. Is last week they absolutely nailed it because they had some interesting stuff. Cafe Mix. Everyone was like, yeah, this is cool, and a few other little things in between. And then here's Pokemon.
Yay.
Yeah, Smile was okay. That was a misstep on their behalf. As in,
I can brush my teeth.
why did they open with that? And that was my only concern with that, was like, I understand that's not for me, that's for little kids, and I think that's a great thing. Cool, it works. If it's going to help the next generation brush their teeth, fine, cool. But why did you open with that? It wasn't like...
I mean, would you rather them open with that or end with it?
For the lols, end with it, but
People would have been so mad. But yeah, I do agree with the point that it probably would have worked a lot better if Snap and Unite were switched. I know
Yes.
they had a lot of information to show about Unite, and they were very excited to show it, which is why it took the whole 11 minutes. But if they teased a little bit last week and then added a little bit more information onto this week's maybe at the end, That probably
but
would have worked a lot better.
Here's the thing: these are basically mini directs. I don't know why they've suddenly started calling them Pokemon Presents.
I don't know.
They're basically mini Nintendo Direct types situations. They could have done this as one presentation.
Coming from the latest and greatest in Pokemon. Pokemon, brush your damn teeth.
And it's one of those things where I was like, all right, they made the mistake of going, we've got a massive brand new project coming out and we're going to talk about it next week.
Available at GameStop for $14.99.
So, I think that was the big misstep they made there from a promotional standpoint. Unite as a concept, I'm going to give it a go. I don't play MOBAs, but I'll give it a go. And
I can't wait to watch Beaz play a MOBA.
Oh, that's going to be hilarious. I'm going to be watching that stream.
Well, as it is, Riley's already hassling me about co-streaming with you, Cinder, playing Pokemon Cafe.
Alright.
I don't know why, because A, it's not a multiplayer game.
We can make it a multiplayer game.
We won't make this multiplayer. This
We can
single
make a
player,
challenge. Most levels done in 60 minutes. Let's go.
this single player will become lots of player.
Oh god. So but they made a mistake, and that was the only mistake they made. Not the game itself, but they hyped up something.
The way they showed it, yeah.
And knowing that people were after something specific even before they made that decision, because Gen 4 remakes have been something that's been on and on and on and on. So
I want them so bad.
I know you do. It's okay. I was seriously concerned that if they showed Let's Go Johto, I'd be saying to Toma, sorry, it's just you and me for the podcast, because Cinder's gone into hibernation and
I was speaking with Riley and I was like...
There may have been a nuclear explosion somewhere inside of a house.
I was saying to Riley, if that was shown on the present, I'd be sad for the rest of the day. Like, I wouldn't want to do anything. Like, that...
You just see, it would be literally Cinder's cam, the lights in darkness, him just sitting there rocking in the corner.
You got the really bad flute rendition of My Life Will Go On playing in the background.
Played badly enough that it doesn't strike DMCA.
MCA, yeah, of course. Just going every night in my dreams I see. All you hear is just every night in my dreams, and then you just see just like this faded in Gen 4 Pokemon. Just like Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum just slowly floating into the screen.
Oh god. So god. So that was the big one this week. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, not that I've played it and I'm going to at some stage, is The Last of Us 2.
I thought it was going to be Demon's Souls Remastered, because I would have just been like...
We covered so much last week on the PlayStation conference stuff as well.
Because somebody screwed up time zones and I would have been there to talk about it.
Look above me. Let me be.
Oh, wake up at 9. Wakes up at 7. By the way, 8 podcast started. What?
Yeah, no, and here's the thing. I love time. If Silent's still here, Silent will back me up, because Silent and I have had so many conversations about goddamn time zones.
I hate
You
time
have.
zones.
You're sitting at a computer.
In
Use
Google. I put it in Google, and then it never works out. It's just a shit show. All right.
Yeah, you just got to put the time zones in correctly. Correctly, not incorrectly. That's the issue.
Using the Google Calendar, just a behind the scenes thing here with AG. Using the Google Calendar for our last event, the previous event was a fucking shit show, because
was that the week long one?
Yeah, the theme week, and we'd put stuff in, and
that was fun.
Not the theme week was fine. The calendar was shit. I got to a point you'd put something in, and then I got to a point where I'm like, all right, here, Charming, you do it, because it's just not working. I've had enough. It just wouldn't work.
I want to go home.
I'm going to throw my phone if you don't do this. It was awful. So. We've got things in the works. July is going to be. I will say this much: we haven't because we're so super organized.
Where's the Jackbox event we've been planning for 3 weeks?
So let's touch on. So, is there any other gaming news? I was going to talk about Last of Us 2. All I was going to say about Last of
I'm
Us.
going to leave this to you because I know nothing about it. I don't play this game, so
I haven't played it yet. What I was going to
Neither have I.
What I was going to address is that there's this big stink about how that game has been portrayed, and obviously people aren't happy with the fact that Ellie has been made into a lesbian character and all this other stuff, but that's not the case because she was in the first game in the expansion or whatever you want to call it. And once again, I think it's one of those cases of I don't know if you guys seen it on is it like Rotten or Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes, one of those, whichever one it was.
Metacritic is for gaming. Rotten Tomatoes is for movies.
Thank you. I was going to say, I had a moment. I'm like, I'm sure it's Metacritic. It's scored amazingly from critics, but it got shot down by people. People were voting 0 simply because they didn't like the fact that there was this character and they didn't like the fact of the way it was handled. It's once again one of those things where in those kind of games, especially when they're story-based, you need to experience it for yourself before you pass judgment. And it frustrates me. And there's trolls, I'm aware of that, and we know that there's trolls, and there's always gonna be trolls. However, if you haven't played Last of Us 2 and you want to, don't look at the reviews from the general public. Play it for what it's worth and see what you think of it before you judge it.
I mean, it also didn't help that the entire game got leaked before.
Oh, yeah, that also wasn't a good thing.
The game came out. That didn't help it.
How did that get leaked in the first place? I wasn't following that.
A staff member? I think. I don't think.
Question mark?
Well, I don't think it ever really got officially confirmed as to what happened, but it got leaked, and that's all we know. But there was theories that it was a staff member, but obviously it has to be someone who's had in touch with it. So you know.
Well, yeah, that's how leaks work.
Well, obviously, it didn't just fly out the window. be free.
I threw my alarm clock out the window to watch time fly. Anyway, carry on.
Silent was telling me that the console exclusives came out. The people on the other platform go and tank the user. Yeah, and that happens a lot as well. I remember another really good example was people got really bitter. I'm not always a big fan of console exclusive content. However, it's a choice that the developers make, and that's their choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny did it for a while, and especially in Destiny 1, with PlayStation content. Oh, he's cringing. I can see it. I can see the steam rising. But they did. PlayStation had an agreement in place where they would get, whether it was an exclusive gun.
For freaking 2 years.
There you go. Or there was a strike that was exclusive as well. And, people complained about that. And then held the entire game down because of that one thing. That's not good. Yes, you can be pissed off with the fact that they've done that, but it doesn't discredit the game. And that is my biggest pet hate with anything like this, is that don't look at one little aspect. Look at the big picture, and then evaluate. Don't go, Destiny's not a shit game because one gun was exclusive for 2 years.
Yes, it was. When you lock one of the best hand cannons away behind a freaking paywall of $400, it pisses me off.
So,
man.
But then it also didn't help that the PlayStation people were sitting there going, "Aha, we have this and you don't." It was happening.
Well,
so
it didn't matter to me because I have both consoles anyway. So
yeah.
Flex.
Yes. Well, I have.
You can see my Nintendo Switch back there.
I have all three, so I'm just gonna flex. So.
Wow. All right. Okay. I mean, I have an Xbox and a Switch, but my Xbox has seen more use lately since I've been playing Kingdom Hearts. But that's neither here nor there. Carry on.
So yeah, is there any other gaming news that you want to talk about?
Main one I want to talk about is the PlayStation 5's design, because I know you guys were talking about that on. No, I'm not going to make fun of it. I want to know, how is the cooling going to work on it? Because if you look at the Xbox Series X's design, the fan is on they have a clear air intake off the top, and the bottom is raised up so it exhausts out the bottom. And there's probably other fan ports along the back of it that also help with exhausting air. The thing is, with RDNA 2 and these 8-core custom-built AMD processors, they're gonna run hot as fuck. My AMD Ryzen 9 runs at 50 degrees base by itself when it's idling. So
Yikes.
you're gonna have to cool this PlayStation 5 enormously when it's playing games at 4K or to 120 FPS, because that puts a system underneath a lot of stress. And with how small and thin that is, it's going to sound like a fighter jet again, because that's the big problem the PlayStation 4 had. It sounded like a fighter jet whenever you started up a game, whether it was on disc or digital. It was like, well, there's the PlayStation 4. It sounds like it's trying to take off now.
Every time you load it up, you feel like you only take part in a mission briefing.
I'm pretty sure that's the problem that people have had with Last of Us 2 on a tech side of things. I'm pretty sure it's actually pushing the PS4 further than it ever should.
And then it winds up, and then you sound like you're in a mission briefing, and then all of a sudden your game crashes, and then...
Always when I'm drinking. How do you manage that?
But I agree with you. As much as I look at the design of the PS5 and I'm still not convinced about it, I hadn't thought of this until you pointed it out. It doesn't make sense under how it cools. Because there's not obvious cooling spots. To me, the sides
I mean, the lava, it looks like a lava lamp, so maybe it's supposed to run hot.
We've gone through so many memes in AG.
We haven't seen much of the back of the console yet, have we?
What
We
you
haven't
think?
seen much of the back of the console yet.
You
There might be a
think?
lot of like.
You think it's thick,
Hopefully.
you think it's thick booties hiding lots of fans?
You never know. You never know.
You see your PS4, and then all of a sudden,
Oh my god! But yeah, no, I don't know. And that's the problem you're going to have, is that if there is cooling issues with it, and this happens with a lot of the first iterations of any generation of console, is that they're going to find that they're going to have people returning them if they aren't properly cooled, because they are going to not work properly.
this is not a PlayStation 4.
What is
I
that?
grabbed the wrong console. This is an Xbox One.
I was going to say, that's
I grabbed the wrong
not...
console.
It didn't even look like an Xbox. It looked like a bit of paper that you spilt ink on. I'm like, what's this?
This is an Xbox One X. This is an X.
Oh, that's an X.
Yeah, it's the Gears of War 5 one.
But it makes me laugh that...
Why?
No, not that.
Oh.
Is that you look at what the Xbox Series X thing, or whatever they're calling it,
The refrigerator.
and then you look at the PlayStation 5, and you could not be any further apart in design. It's
There we
like,
go.
Yeah.
see,
Right
I'm not.
console this time.
I don't have a problem with the PS4. Some people didn't like the way it was designed. I don't mind it. It's simple. It
looks like a doorstop.
Sure. You know.
I don't care how a console looks. If it does its job well and doesn't kill itself, then.
Well, I know. Well,
sure.
see, I'm fine. Depends on the console, because some consoles just look like shit. You know, and to me, looking at the Xbox One X, it looks like a Bluetooth speaker or we were talking about this last week. You know, we just put a door on it and put cold drinks in it. It looks like
It's a refrigerator.
it looks like a refrigerator. And then you look at the PlayStation 5, and it looks like
a modern art piece.
When it's laying on its side. I was thinking of those, you know, architectural buildings. They like it's got that start with the curved lines. It's like a museum.
Okay, well, with the front end the way it is, can I get the black part like bright blue so it looks like a Hadoken on my thing? So it's just like a Hadoken going across my desk.
As long as they light it from one end to the other as it starts up. You know, like an LED.
And it does like the actual Hadoken.
See,
Let's just start that.
I've got the Xbox One S, the Minecraft one, and so it's so
big boy in this Minecraft.
no, I love it. It's great. I've got I have my creeper controller. See, look at that. And that's
I have.
I also have my pig controller.
Proud.
But this is the PlayStation 4, and this is the reason why it sounded like a fighter jet. This area right here. This is one of its cooling intakes. for an
Oh, so it
8-core
whistles.
for an 8-core system.
Also,
And there's this
boils
exhaust.
water.
There's this exhaust.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's quite clear that that's how it cools.
Yes, but the intakes are that tiny, so it's got a really high RPM small fan inside, and it sounds like a fighter jet.
Yeah, it's yeah.
If you hear me playing something on my PS4 on stream, you hear me constantly complain about it. I'm like, oh, my PS4's trying to take off.
Well, that's what was happening with my PC. It was like, oh, the jet engine started up again. Thank God I had RTX, because before you'd hear it with the RTX voice stuff. You don't hear it, but it you know, I could hear it through my noise canceling headphones. Mike,
But I was gonna say the Xbox One X does not look like a refrigerator. This is an Xbox One X. You're talking about the Series X.
Yeah,
the Series
Xbox
X.
One
yeah.
X looks like something you'd put into the ground to make paving. Like, I don't know.
It's a paver.
Well, that's because this one's got the Gears of War like cog logo inside of
Yeah,
it.
that doesn't make it look any less like what I'm trying to explain.
It looks like a marble. You know, it looks like a paver where a bird's shat on it.
And the bottom looks
It looks-
like and the bottom looks like somebody sneezed on it with paint.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not looking.
It looks
any
like
better.
a marbled kitchen countertop. Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yes, except for don't put your drinks on it because they may fry the system.
Yeah. Nah, don't worry about it.
Cook
But
your
the smart-
breakfast on it. You'll be right.
Crack an egg.
Crack it.
But as I was going to say on the cooling thing, the Xbox One X did it properly. They did a vaporwave chamber, not vaporwave. They did a vapor chamber. Vaporwave chamber. It just starts playing music and you're just sitting there. Whoa, man, my games are at 60 FPS.
I've seen a lot of purples, pinks, and blues. I don't know why.
There's some bright greens, man. Cactus green.
Oh my god.
Oh, we need to end this at some point.
Jeez. Yeah, no, we do need to wrap this up.
I was saying they did a vapor chamber, which
Yeah.
takes air in, heats up, allows liquid that's inside there to cool itself down, and it does it like a convection current.
Yeah.
So cold air gets intaked, hot air gets exhausted. And the Xbox One X is nearly silent because of it.
Yes.
The PlayStation 4 sounds like a fighter jet because the way they designed the fan on it. They need to design the PS5 so that way the fans are wide. You need to make the thing a little bit wider so you can fit maybe a 120 in there. A 120 would cool that entire system down, but also make it so, you know, it doesn't sound like a fighter jet trying to explode on
God.
takeoff.
Oh dear. So
A vaporwave chamber sounds like a method of torture. Yeah, you just stick a guy in the room, and all of a sudden it's just, whoa! I'm smelling colors.
Look at all the ray tracing.
RTX on.
Oh, God.
RTX on.
That's so bad. So yeah. All right. Well, I can't even remember what I was going to talk about after that. After the
RTX on.
Oh my god.
So yeah. All right. Just quickly to cover a few things in July, our community movie nights will be starting. So keep your eye out in the Discord for that information. We also will be doing, as Toma has indicated, a Jackbox stream at some stage on this channel. We will do it sometime in July. We just need to work out a time that's going to suit a few of the AGs so that you can get a few people on camera at once.
More the merrier.
Or in voice chat, I mean. You've only got a few more. Box of popcorn goes flying across the room.
What was that? Just you got a few more. Fuck. Great outro.
Recommendations for movies are still open. Yes, thank you, Charming. Yes, there will be Jackbox. Riley, calm down. Breathe in, breathe out.
I've been trying to push for it, Riley. So
It will happen. It will happen at some point in July for sure.
You've only got 3 more days to apply for the summer recruitment. So make sure you do. You can go to our website, which is auraguardianstv.com, and go to the Become a Guardian page, and it will be down the bottom there.
hopefully we remember to actually put up the form this time.
Yes, we
Ooh.
did, because we've got submissions.
Oh yeah, that is true.
That's our content creation manager right there. Poor Toma, he's overworked. He just wants his vaporwave chamber. So,
Hey, do you know what my vaporwave chamber will be called?
oh god,
Twinkle, twinkle, assholes.
good grief.
On that
Anyway,
note-
on that note, all right. Is there anything you want to save before we wrap up? Either of you?
Juju Energy, 10% off. I've forgotten the code. I'm awful.
Cinder's selling out, and I appreciate
Juju
every-
Energy. Use code AGFAM for 10% off.
That's the one.
On that note, all right. Well, this has been DragonBeaz, Cindershots, special guest Toma, and we will see you next week. Keep your eye out if you want to either rewatch this or you've missed parts of it, and you've come in at the end. It is on Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Oh
Apple
god,
Podcasts.
Spotify's gonna have a joy with this one.
Yep. Apple Podcasts, and also on our YouTube channel. So you can watch all of this if you're watching.
Thank
on
you to
YouTube.
Toma for joining us.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right,
Glad
guys.
to derail like every single one of our conversations we've had today
Oh, God.
at some point.
All right, guys. We will see you next week around the same sort of time. Yeah, be good to each other, have fun, be safe, and
Practice your social distancing.
Yes, be safe.
always. All right. Shit, I've lost the mouse.
That is the greatest way to end a podcast. I
Poor
lost the
audience.
mouse.